Well, hello. This is Dr. August Dunning, and I do these interesting beach walks talking about dry fasting. And this is part 3 of how to dry fast. And this one is about recovery. After you end the fast, what's just happened, what you need to do to protect the benefits. So the first thing is, when you dry fast, after you've finally digested your food, in about 2 or 3 hours, autophagy turns on, and that's all fine and good. But what happens at like hour 12 is you've lowered your insulin to an enormous amount, such as there's basically no insulin in the system at that point. And then the body responds because the body knows what to do. And what the body does is the body calls on human growth factors, human growth hormone in particular, because it has 2 jobs at that point. It's run out of glycogen, which usually operates the muscles. And the glycogen is getting lower and lower and lower, and so the body makes HGH to pump that out to do a couple of things. 1 is to protect your muscles, like I talked about yesterday. 2 is to stimulate the reduction of visceral fat, that hard to get fat deep inside your body. It doesn't do it immediately. It still has to take a certain amount of time to reach the plateau of hormone balance, which means it has to reach a point where the insulin is so low that the HGH can be increased, and then it increases by about 500% over the next couple of hours. About hour 18 into a dry fast, you've got tons of HGH, you've got all this muscle being protected, and you are attacking your fat cells, subcutaneous and visceral. You lose both during a dry fast. Visceral fat is a hard one because the visceral fat is the thing you really have a hard time losing during the eating cycles, which I'll talk in a minute, and probably tomorrow, because I'll do a good video on this, on how to lose all this fat quickly. So what you want to do is you've lost all this fat and you want to keep it off, knowing that insulin is what stimulates fat deposition, and it's sugar that stimulates insulin. When you stop a dry fast, you need to really control the sugar, because those vessels, those small little capillaries that have been servicing these fat storage areas for years, will die off if there's no reason or no ability to store fat in those fat stores again, because you're not eating too much sugar. Your body readjusts. The most amazing thing is that your stem cells, which have been quiescent during the dry fast, but not totally quiescent, they've been in a zero phase, where an interphase where the genes have opened up, all the stem cells have been repaired. You've got a huge bunch of stem cells that are now a perfect match to when you were an embryo, which is where your stem cells come from, by the way, before they can replicate. And there's a reason for this. Because during the dry fast, you've eliminated tons of damaged and nearly dying and ridiculous cells that had to go anyway and were sacrificed on the altar of dry fasting to make new parts. That's why it's called the Phoenix Protocol. Your body can naturally digest its proteins and amino acids and rebuild them into new proteins. It is the feathers regrowing after burning on the phoenix and becoming the new phoenix. It's the coolest thing. But what happens after you actually enter into nutrition is that your stem cells go into massive replication, because now they can. They've been starved just like the somatic cells, so they can't really replicate. You need energy to do that and food to do that, but that's not what happens during the dry fast biochemically. So you've had this huge infusion ready to go, and then you get it. How you treat that has a lot to do whether it has the ability to do a lot of good or not. Too much sugar, too much fat, too much stuff, you can even turn stem cells into fat cells. I mean, it is so critical that at this point, you're just very gentle with your body, like you're coming out of starvation, because you are. Anhydrous starvation. It's quick, it's fast, it's effective, but you have to exit it correctly. Dr. Sheshenikov in Russia noted this specifically, that getting out of a dry fast is more important than getting into it, and how you do it. And that is a couple of things you need to realize. You've run out of critical minerals. You've been operating your muscle, your heart, your potassium's low. You've been making ATP because you've cut into the fat cells, and the free fatty acids are making plenty of ATP. And ATP requires magnesium to get out of the cells. So you're running out of magnesium, potassium. Also, you've used your sodium too, because the sodium is essential for opening up the aquaporins on cells to get things in and out, like exocytosis of debris and toxic poisons and stuff, to get it into the extracellular matrix, which takes it into the lymphatic system, and which drains it into the arteries, which takes it to the kidneys and filters that out. So yeah, you've got a situation where if you do it just right, and you do at least 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium, 200 to 400 milligrams of potassium, and that drink to end the fast, that sodium bicarbonate drink, you get the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium, and then if you just eat some sea salt, you'll get 93 different minerals from the ocean, like the wet sea salts, the stuff from Normandy. And control your eating. You know, I used to just chug a great big quart of coconut water and all this stuff, and got back to where my weight was. And I understood later on that this was the issue. You want to sip that stuff. You don't want to force too much insulin into the system at one time, so that it forces the pancreas to work. So that's what you've got to think about eating now. Now that you've been through this, now that you've lost the weight, now that you're feeling better, you're thinking better. How you eat determines what you become. So look at eating as a penalty on the pancreas. High carbohydrates causes a high penalty on the pancreas, on the beta cell, to make insulin. In a dry fast, the alpha cells will make a glucagon along with HGH to cut that stuff up. But afterwards, you want to just, slowly introduce foods. Your entire GI tract has been completely replaced by brand new cells. It does it every day, every week anyway. It's about 7 days to replace these cells. But you've got a brand new intestinal tract at once. A brand new immune system at once. All these wonderful things. So you want to gently take care of that, kind of like a baby. You don't want to introduce a lot of solid foods at all at first. Bone broth with collagen peptides or branched chain amino acids. Anything that just keeps the protein coming in with low carbohydrates to rebuild tissue and rehydrate you. You have to be rehydrated. The first couple of days of dry fasting, when you're living on your glycogen and your sugar, you're peeing out a lot of water. And you're going to lose that volume in weight. It's not the fat weight, it's the water weight. That has to come back because the water hydrates your DNA so that it can operate and that it can have the magnetic field that the rest of the body tunes into to operate the body in all these distal locations. I get into that in this book, okay? But for now, with dry fasting, you've really done the most amazing thing. So limit your food, bone broth for a couple of days. I use Zoop or Kettle and Fire or any of those kind of products. I don't support anybody, they don't pay me anything. But at the same time, that's the best thing for your body. You can do stews and you can do chicken broths and stuff and chicken soup broths. You can use the broth, not the noodles. You got to control the carbs. And that's about it. I mean, you do these things in the order of these 3 videos here, and you'll understand how this works, why it works, why it's so reliable. But the good news is this. At the end of your first dry fast, and this is almost universally accepted, is either the comment, yeah, it was a little tough, or no, it wasn't tough at all, but what I do want to do is do this again. That's why I'm showing you this stuff. I'm showing your body, through your eyes, through this video, that your body will thank you for this in the future, for knowing how to do this, and it'll tell you when to do it next. Listen to it. It's not going to guide you wrong. Everything we have, like Hippocrates said, is in the body. It's just knowing how to turn it on, turn it off, and utilize it for longevity. Anyway, thanks for tuning into this trio of videos. And now I think this is the night. Between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., the loggerhead sea turtles come ashore on this beach. And I just saw a couple of new nests from last night. So yeah, high tide, moon set. Okay, so it's going to be a really interesting time. High tide and turtles. God, I love this planet.
else?
We have a message. Can you remind people to subscribe, please, sir?
What now?
Please.
Oh, very well.
If